Specific to what we have in our data text file. So we'll just keep this open side by side. So consider I want to know about Olympics. Ask the question again, what is Olympic history? And let's see the response here. And as you see, the response is coming through, and we are able to see that the response is exactly the way it is mentioned in our document. Hello everyone, welcome back to the 5-Minute Tech channel. Today we will be talking about enhanced AI chat with SignalR, ASP.NET Core and React. It will be a real-time messaging application with the modern UI, and it's towards building your own contextual based AI chat. So we'll be building on top of what we learned in the last video, and we'll be taking it forward in the form of a real-time messaging system through the SignalR to the user through the React application UI. So our implementation will have the backbone of the Olama implementation which we have done with the LangChain, and that will be giving us the response based on our request, but the request will be piped through our SignalR hub, which is built on top of the ASP.NET Core, and the response will be read back to the React UI, and at the end the UI will be rendered with the response which we get from our backend RAG system. So what is SignalR? SignalR is a real-time communication library developed by Microsoft for ASP.NET Core application. It enables instant two-way communication between the server and client without requiring the frequent polling. And SignalR is commonly used for chat applications, live notifications, collaborative editing, and other real-time scenarios. Now, some of the key components of SignalR are hub, client, server, and transport. Hub being something which you build into your ASP.NET Core, and it's as a central communication point between the client and the server. The client being some of the UI applications, modern UI applications like React, Angular based, or even a Blazor application. And the server will be your ASP.NET Core backend handling all the requests. And the transport mechanism uses WebSockets, SSE, or long polling. To dive more deep into how SignalR works, the SignalR is built on top of the WebSocket based real-time communication model. So if WebSockets aren't available, SignalR will automatically fall back to your server sent events or long polling. And this is the representation wherein if user makes a request through the SignalR to the WebSocket, the hub which we have configured in the ASP.NET Core, uses the server send events, and if the web sockets are unavailable, it goes to the long polling mechanism. Now, what are the benefits of SignalR? It helps in instant updates. You don't need to wait for or do a manual refresh, and then the efficient communication reduces the network load, and the client, it supports multiple clients, so multiple clients can connect to a particular message. And then the fallback method, which works even if WebSockets aren't available. So that was pretty much about the implementation. Let's get into the code now. So our implementation will be around the three key areas. First area will be our backend data, which we will get from our RAG based system, which we have already showcased in the previous video, which will be served by which will be serving to the SignalR hub, and from there we'll get to React UI. So let's first see. So in our RAG based system, we have this data file which talks about Olympic Games. So this is something which we'll be using as a source, and we'll be asking questions relevant to Olympic Games, history and structure, value, movement and global. And this is our script file, the Python script file which we are using to get the data out of our data file which we just talked, which I just showed you. And the data file is something which will render the data for the questions which is asked through this text loader, and then it will be rendering the data on running it on for port 5000. So this is the Flask API based request port which we have configured, and on this we'll be getting the response. So now let's get into the ASP.NET Core SignalR area. So now let's run this and see if everything works fine, and then we'll build the SignalR hub in the ASP.NET Core. To run this, we'll first activate this the source, and then we will run the Python script. And as you see, our Python is running and it is rendering on port 5000, and this is what we'll be connecting to get the data from the document which we are rendering through our LLM. So we'll go ahead and create a new project, and the project will be an ASP.NET Web API project. So let me just select that and name this as RAG SignalR project, and I will navigate to the location. Select the folder, next, and then create necessary code which has come along with it. So we'll delete this, and we will also rename this as so we don't need controller, but we will keep it for testing purpose. So we'll just rename this as a chat controller, but basically we will be directly calling the hub. So this is just for a placeholder we'll be keeping. So I've added certain boilerplate code, but this is basically just a placeholder code. This is not something which we'll be using for our rendering. We'll be creating our own SignalR hub. So let's get into creating the hub. We'll go ahead and add a class called AI hub. So class and AI hub, and in this we will be creating a hub. So in this we will be creating a hub. So I'll just put in the code for the hub creation. So this will be our hub configuration. We will inherit from ASP.NET Core SignalR.hub. We will have a send message, and we will be first getting the response, from our Python Flask API, and that will return us on the port 5000. If you remember, we are running on that, and it is under endpoint /chat. We'll be passing the query and we'll getting the response back. That response will be captured in an object which will be parsed, and then it will be sent back to the client. So this is the whole flow of creating an AI hub, SignalR hub, and creating those which all client will get what all subscription or messages we need to configure that. Next, we are wiring up the front end, wherein we are wiring up the program.cs, and in that we are creating doing add SignalR, which is coming from Microsoft.ASP.NET Core SignalR. Then we also adding certain codes related change the code, and also we are using use endpoint, and we are doing a map hub to our class which we have created for AI hub, and we are giving an endpoint as AI hub. Now we will just build this, and so that there is no issues. So let me just do that. So our solution built successfully. We'll just run this. It will not render anything because I have not configured the Swagger endpoint, so it is empty. But basically what we have is a hub which is running on a port which we have configured, and that is where we will be able to discover it. And that port is something which is 7045, and then it is connecting to the AI hub hub which we have created. So let's go ahead and do the React part in this implementation now. So in the same folder location, we'll open a command prompt, and we will go ahead and do a code dot, and this will open our Visual Studio Code. And this code, what we are going to do is we are going to create a separate folder. We will not be using this folder, so what we will do is we will create a separate folder in here, and that's called chat UI. In the chat you will do the cd to chat UI, chat-ui, and what we will do is we'll run a command to create the React application. Yes. So we have the boilerplate code for the React application. We'll go ahead and add a file called our SignalR service.js. So let me just create one new file, and that will be SignalR service.js, and this file will contain the code which will connect to the AI hub. So this is the code which we'll be using to connect to the SignalR hub, and if you see the port number, it is same as what we had when we launched run the application, and then we have the AI hub, and it is doing all these things. So that's the hub connection builder and all those things which we did. Now this will work only if you install this plugin, and that's one thing which we need to do. Let me do that first now. So this is the command which we need to run to install the Microsoft SignalR and Axios, because we'll be using the Axios. And now we'll go ahead into app.js and we'll plug in the code for that. So let's do that. So this is our app.js code. We are taking use state and use effect from React, connection from SignalR service, and then using a CSS called chat app CSS, and then we have the chat app function, which basically what it does is it loads the data which we get from the SignalR response, and it provides a look and feel based on the HTML and CSS that it is loading one by one bit, and that's something which we get the response and just render to give it a modern UI feel. So that's about the app.js. We will go ahead and run this. So as you see, our application has loaded successfully, and now what we will do is we'll go ahead and ask it questions related to the Olympics. The questions will be specific to what we have in our data text file. So we'll just keep this open side by side. So consider I want to know about Olympics. Ask the question again, what is Olympic history, and let's see the response here. And as you see, the response is coming through, and we are able to see that the response is exactly the way it is mentioned in our document, wherein it is talking about was revived in 1896, were revived in 1896. So whatever information we gave it is what is coming through exactly from your document, and that's what the differentiating part is. You can control what information is relayed through your documentation. So that was pretty much about the demo of this implementation. Hope you liked the video. If you like, press like and subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day.